Good morning. It's almost afternoon on the 30th. It probably is afternoon. I just didn't look at the clock. On the 30th of January 2025. Please excuse me, woolly cap. It's nice morning, good morning, but round the corner here where I made my last two videos, there's a strong breeze blowing and it's hitting the effect of the quality of the sound, so I'm sorry about that. Now, one of the things I want to talk about, and I'm not giving you a definitive answer, is what is the rules on putting fireplaces in new houses. The great and the good tell us that a fireplace is one of the most inefficient ways of keeping warm you could have. Yet I have a house and there's two fireplaces. One is rarely lit, and by right the chimney should be capped because it's never lit. I should go up and put a capping on the chimney because heat goes out the chimney. The other one has the 17-inch grate. There's two sizes. One's 2 inches bigger than the other. The other has a 17-inch grate, and when we light a fire in there, it is absolutely gorgeous. It's the center of the house. It's warm. You can sit and look at telly, you can chat, you can do what you wish, and it warms up the house quite good. It does not have a back boiler, and we wouldn't be without it. I have another friend who has a house in the town, and it has a fireplace, and it is absolutely first class when it gets going. I also have central heating in the first house I referred to, and it does bring up the heating, but it's slow. Now, is it cosmetic or is it real? Well, I think the experience over the last few days has shown that it's not just cosmetic, it's not just for looks, it's real. The heat is real. Now, one of the things I know from when I was a wilder man, I used to help putting up aerials on houses, and I used to go up on this house here to fix the aerial, and people would get me to tilt the aerial a bit. And I remember one time being up on a house and I was touching the aerial for the television signal, and the man of the house, the woman was inside watching the reception, he was out in the street shouting up to me, and when I touch it to get a perfect reception, and she says, "Leave that there, don't move," which meant me staying there forever up on top of the roof. She didn't understand that it was my body was bringing in the signal. But the heat from the chimneys was so hot, you could fry an egg on a pan on top of the chimney. Now, we've had the experiences of the blackouts here, and it was people had to leave their houses. Several houses newly built with no fires, with heat pumps, had to be abandoned because the cold would skin you. There was no alternative source of heating, right? No alternative source of heating. Getting a bit chilly. Now, I believe the situation is that there is not a direct ban on the putting of fireplaces in new houses. You can put a chimney on a house. Eamon Ryan, the former Minister for Energy, that I talk about here a lot, said on the radio today that he never brought out any ban on putting fireplaces in houses or chimneys. Joe Finnegan on Shannonside Northern Sound, who's a mad, rip-roaring socialist, climate change fanatic, and talking a lot of crap a lot of the time, said the other day that there is a ban on putting fireplaces on houses. Now, my channel is all about facts, and by right what I should do today is ring the local authorities in some areas, maybe someone, and find out if this is the case. However, that's take a bit of ringing, and I don't want to ring them now after the storm, because the planning offices and maybe the councils and all that are under a bit of pressure. So I'm just going to wait a while, and maybe somebody here would know. However, I did see an architect one day that I know designs a lot of houses, and a lot of his houses have no chimneys. And I asked him out straight, is there a ban on fireplaces in houses? And he says there is not. So I believe you can put a fireplace in a house. I also believe there are godsend in a house. A good cooker in a house or any type of fire is good. I have another friend who has a house down in the Midlands, and she has one of those stoves in it. You know those blacksmith type stoves, you know the ones you buy, and she has with the glass front, and she has them in it. So I believe, folks, and please tell me if I'm wrong, if you know, but I believe there is no block on putting fireplaces. But there is a problem. According to this stupid EU that I've cursed and hope will die and get out of our lives forevermore, you have to have a certain BAR rating for your house. And that has a set of criteria, and a fireplace will reduce it. So while you can put in the fireplace, you still have to bring it up by some other means. So it's not as simple as it looks. One of the things I've always said, why do they not put interceptors in chimneys? Why do they not put a copper grid about, particularly in two-storey houses, where the chimney's gone up past a bedroom and have it done? It wouldn't take a lot, that it would intercept the heat of the fire being wasted out to heat the sky and bring it back into the bedroom. It wouldn't be any rocket science to do that. I think that would be an answer, and I had intended doing tests on this old house, and because of every day there's something new and the blackouts and losing slates, I just can't get round to it. So some people would choose to buy a second-hand home with the fireplace in it, and I certainly probably would, rather than a new one with no fireplaces. The houses up at the Super Value in Kingsford have no fireplaces. They have no chimneys. The houses, as you go up to Super Value on the right, up there, they were called Murtagh's houses originally. They're big white houses there. And they have no chimneys. But nearly all of them have some type of a flue out through the wall or some type of solid fuel stove. Nearly all. And I was in one of them, and they installed a blacksmith type stove. I call them blacksmith. You know the little stove with it doesn't do any cooking or anything. You know them. There's other names on them there. You see them in any hardware shop. They installed it and put a hole out through the corner. They put a hole out through the wall and put a flue on it. So it's a matter of personal taste. But you can get away with it to fire in a new house. You could. What I would probably try and do is make it that you could put the fireplace in easily. Now, I'm told by another person, again, you hear a lot of things, that a lot of the houses have dummy chimneys. And I'm watching some of the houses very closely to see if there's smoke coming out of the dummy chimneys. And there is not, so far. But then these houses were abandoned. They were abandoned during the cut-off of the power. So I don't really know, but I'm sure I'll get a response here. We're talking about Ireland, the Republic of Ireland. I think the regulations are looser in Northern Ireland. Coal, various types of smokeless coal sticks are being bought by the ton. Every filling station is selling sticks and kindling wood, so somebody is doing it. It was also on the radio with Declan Ganley. He had a tit for tat, I've mentioned before, with Oisin Coughlin of Friends of the Earth. And Declan Ganley said that a lot of houses had been retrofitted. And I'd say, and I'm guessing here, that when you get the grant for retrofitting, one of the things is to close up the fireplace. Whether you have to do it or not, I'm not sure. But it certainly is the recommendation. Now, there is another important point to make on this. I know one estate down the Midlands, a good estate. And the reason there's only one person in it. He's a far-out cousin of mine. And he has his little fire, him and the wife and the family. None of the rest of them have. They have oil-fired central heating or gas-fired central heating. And they don't want to light fires because it's too much trouble. They don't want to have the fire, it's grand when it's running, they don't want to be cleaning it out, because a lot of the women and their daughters have fake nails. You'll see them there when you go in to buy in a shop. I don't, my nails keep growing, wearing back with work, but they have these painted nails and they're beautiful, they're absolutely beautiful. And they don't want to be cleaning out a dusty fire. And I'd say that's the thing. That's why they don't have them. They don't want them. I'd say that's the story. Years ago, when I was in another job I've told you about, I remember going in to talk to some people in a big big mansion, and they told me they saw the house when they were in America, and they designed the house the same, and it was a huge big block of a house. And the mortgage was so high and that they couldn't afford to heat it. There was no heat on, and I was frozen. And she was in with a big duvet all around her and heavy clothes. It's some priority. I'd like to have a bit of heat in the grate. This is Ireland. Our great grandfathers had burnt turf sticks or something. There was a house up there, just up there. That river there runs on up to it. It's about 1.25 miles from here. And it had a front and a back door designed so you could. That time you had to cut a tree with a cross cut, and they used to drag in stumps of trees and burn the front bit of it in the fire in the hearth, and it'd cook on it, and they'd pull it further with a horse. They'd put the chain of the horse right through the house, and they'd pull the thing in. They're long dead. They're dead. Oh, I never remember them. They pulled the timber through the house. Long ago, it was a fierce problem. And up in the Dunnery Forest Park, there's still people alive today, old people, who went up with their parents to cut trees. You could buy a tree off Pratt, the landlord, who owned the wood, but you had to cut it with a cross cut. And that's what they used to say. You warm yourself when you're cutting it, and you warm yourself when you're burning it. But just to finish up, my best guess is you can put a fireplace in a new house. You can put a chimney on a new house. There's no barrier on it. It brings down the BAR rating. And then you have to some way make up for it by some other method. I don't know what it is. I don't see that being possible changed, because the only way you change it is somebody like Trump who throw the whole lot out the window. That's not going to happen in Ireland. And the idiots that freeze with the cold will vote for the parties that will take away the fireplaces. All ordinary existing houses have it. It's a mixed bag, but I like the fireplace, and it survived. I was never cold in any house. I was often in houses long ago. I'd be working for people, and it'd be cold weather like this, and I'd be inside, and there'd be cooking several pots on it. There'd be a cake in the oven, and the heat would put you out of the place. And there'd be a stove, a Rayburn or a Stanley cooker. I was reared in a house with a Stanley cooker, and only for it we'd have died with the cold. There was no radiators, no oil heating or nothing. So that's the story. I can tell you that you can use a space heater. I have one for the workshop. It's a Hyundai. It's a 70 BTU or 7,000 or whatever it is, 70 anyway. And it's a bit hard on electricity, and it's a bit hard on diesel, but it'll bring up the heat great. And if I get wet out in the farm, I bring it into the house itself, and I put the clothes on the line, and in about 12 minutes, they're as dry as a cake. They are not dangerous, because I know from sometimes if there's a downdraft, I find a wee bit of black in my spittle, and there's none with that. They are not dangerous. Anything to say about them is not true. But you have to have a little bit of ventilation with them. Any event, folks, have I helped to answer this? Definitely. A fireplace, a grate going up straight, is drawing heat out, and the heat, you could not hold your hand on the top of a fireplace when it's lit, of a chimney. You could not. But I've said before, they're dopes in government, omadons and idiots, and I stand by that, even though people don't like me saying that. Well, I'll debate it, but they won't let me debate. Why is there not an interceptor to intercept that heat and pull some of the heat out and heat water with it and light radiators? You indeed could put an interceptor a foot up the chimney if you really wanted to. That, of course, would take brains, and as I have told you before, very few have any. So that's the story. You can comment underneath, but I believe that's the situation. So you're sort of restricted with a new house that you have to do other stuff, but you're not banned the fire. Now, Ryan, while he's right, he did not ban fireplaces. At the same time, he made it more difficult to have them. So he's not telling you the whole truth. But Joe Finnegan is saying they're banned, he's wrong in that. These radio stations are the most ignoramus and ignorant people. You never learn anything. You never learn anything. Only woke, cultural Marxist, green, mass migration baloney. You never learn anything. That's why I campaign and rub my hands with glee when Trump gets dug into them and kick arse. Okay, folks, comment underneath. Bye. Good luck. Thank you.